have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to or during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, your running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
Warning, this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. And today, y'all, I'm going to be doing the last episode of Season 10. So, next week, it's old cop stories for a while. All right, so bear with me, and at the end of the show, stay tuned for some real life, real crime announcements. Also, don't forget about my new podcast, Scorched Justice. I'm covering the murders of Jessica Lynn Chambers and Ming Xing Show, or otherwise known as Mandy. Find it anywhere you download a podcast. Search for Scorched Justice. And if you would, subscribe and leave me a review. It's a hell of a story. Y'all need to check it out. All right. Starting today's episode, what I want to do to conclude this season, and it's been a long one, I know that, but I want to touch on all of our Justice 4 cases, okay, and give you some updates on every one of them. And I'm going to start with Miss Barbara Blount. Okay, y'all know I've been on this case for over 2 years at the request of Jason Ard, the sheriff of Livingston Parish, and it's a mystery, total mystery. And I hate the word, but her murderversary date just passed on May the 2nd, and I was out of town at the NAB conference when that happened. But I've been in contact with the family. And certainly been in contact with the sheriff, and they're working it every day. This family's been suffering every day. It's 14 years later, and she's still gone without a trace. And people say, well, how do you know she's dead? Because I know she's dead, all right? And y'all need to please keep calling in your tips. I'm going to read an article that was just published this weekend in the Morning Advocate by reporter Jacqueline DeRoberitis. She's a staff writer, and she went out and interviewed the family and Sheriff Ard about Miss Barbara's case. And I'm going to read it because it's important, y'all. She was a wonderful person, a wonderful human being, a mother, a widower, a sister. We just need to find her. And so if you would, please keep calling in your tips. I get them. I have got several more this week, and it's important. And hopefully what you call in will be the straw that broke the camel's back, and we'll be able to move forward. But Jacqueline writes this: 14 years later, Ricky Blount remembers the last time he saw his mother. The night before he started a new job, he drove over to his mother's remote house on Louisiana Highway 1036 in Holden, The cows had come in, and his mother was laughing about how one of them had gotten its head stuck in the hay ring. She was laughing so hard she couldn't hardly talk, and something told me, "Remember this day," Blount said, and the next day she disappeared. Barbara Blount, then 58 years old, vanished from her quiet rural home on May the 2nd, 2008. Authorities found pots and pans stacked on her kitchen floor, part of a spring house cleaning. More ominously, they also found her car abandoned in the woods on a nearby gravel road. A torrential downpour the day of the disappearance hampered investigators from collecting critical evidence. More than a decade later, the case has gone cold. "It's frustrating," said Livingston Parish Sheriff Jason Ard. "What happened to her? This is one of those cases that sticks with you." Christy Thompson, Barbara Blount's daughter, said, "The years have been hard on her family. They have not had much to go on. We don't know anything now more than the day it happened," she said. There is no crime scene. Thompson was likely the last person to see her mother before she vanished. Every morning she would drop her dog off before work, and every evening she would return to pick it up. The morning Blount disappeared seemed the same as any other. She had all the pots and pans out of her cabinet, doing a little spring cleaning, Thompson recalled. It was sunny. It was a spring day. She had her windows open in the kitchen. Blount, whose husband died in a train collision in 2004, had been living alone. When it began to rain around midday, Thompson called to check in with her mother, but she didn't answer. She dialed again and again. By 3 p.m., Thompson knew something was wrong. She reached out to her cousin, who lived down the road, and asked if he would pop in to check on her. He reported that her car was gone. The door was cracked open, and the pots and pans were still on the floor, she said. He hollered for her. She didn't answer, Thompson said. He was still on the phone with me. He walked in every room and looked and said, "She's not here." They notified the sheriff's office immediately. Detectives found no sign of forced entry. Blount's valuables were left apparently untouched in plain view. "There is no crime scene," Sheriff Ard told podcaster Woody Overton in an episode of Real Life, Real Crime from 2020. "We had the FBI come in. It's the cleanest crime scene they've ever seen. Too many dead ends." The rain that had begun to fall that afternoon progressed to a downpour, quickly flooding the area. By the time authorities found Barbara Blount's vehicle about a quarter mile north of her home, parked in a wooded area on a Hun Club road, the water had risen to cover the car's floorboards. Mother Nature was not on our side that day, Ard said. Authorities, flanked by dozens of volunteers, canvassed the entire area, from woods to waterways. Ricky Blount remembers people wading chest deep into standing water during the search. Detectives interviewed everyone with a possible connection to Blount, while state police and the FBI helped them chase leads. Nothing panned out. At the 10-year anniversary of her disappearance, Ard mentioned that there were some pretty good suspects in the case, but declined to name them. His attempts then to retest DNA samples obtained from Blount's car also did not turn up anything noteworthy, Ard said this week. "We're back to square one on that point," he said. Ard has regularly released information on the anniversary of Blount's disappearance in an effort to jog the memories of people who might know something. In the last year, his office developed a new team with fresh eyes to review the evidence. Ard spoke to Overton for his podcast several years ago in an unorthodox attempt to use the podcast listening audience to source tips. It's still unclear if someone Blount knew lured her from her home or if a stranger passing by caught her off guard. Blount lived on a dead-end road with a gravel driveway. Someone from the blacktop roadway wasn't even able to see the house while passing, Blount's son said. "We know we're going to eventually solve this case," Ard said. "At the end of the day, God knows what happened. I just hope that person realizes that." "I haven't given up." Blount's 2 adult children say she was a kind, caring, and regular churchgoer at Magnolia Baptist. She put other people before her, Thompson said. There wasn't a mean bone in her body. Ricky Blount said his mother was a stay-at-home person who worked hard and loved her family. He hopes they find her one day, especially since he now has 2 children his mother has never seen. Nobody has found a body yet, so I'm still looking, he said. I haven't given up. It's 14 years, but I'm still looking every day. Thompson believes her mother would never have left home without a good reason, just such as someone telling her the cows had gotten loose or one of her children was in a car wreck down the road. Somebody out there knows something, she said. This can't happen without somebody knowing. If there is anybody out there that knows something, just come forward and let somebody know. It's not fair that they got away with this for this long. But Thompson isn't hoping for a miracle. She wants peace. In my heart, I know she's not here anymore, she said. I know she's in a much better place. Anyone with information on the Blount case is asked to call the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office at 225-686-2241 or the Greater Baton Rouge Crime Stoppers at 225-344-7867. That's 225-344-STOP. Y'all, I was with the state police as a criminal investigator for approximately November, December, January, 4, 5, maybe 6 months when Miss Barbara went missing. And it was just a bad case. And this is not one on the Justice for where cops didn't do their job. This is one where everybody did everything that they could, and it's just not solved. We need more evidence, people. We need more evidence. I talk to Miss Barbara's twin sister, Miss Sarah, all the time. I've talked to Ricky numerous times. I'm telling you, these people are hurting, and somebody knows something. So that's why I'm taking these few minutes to talk about her. And I've been to her house. I've been to where the car was. There's not one thing. Sheriff Ard, and he wasn't the sheriff at the time. He was the chief deputy, actually, when she went missing. But he's never given up on it. He and I had messaged back and forth at like 2 o'clock in the morning about things in the case file. I mean, they care. This is a case where law enforcement has done everything and continues to go above and beyond, including reaching out to Real Life Real Crime to crowdsource after we had the success in Courtney Coco's case. So please, please, please find it in your heart to say what it is that you know, so we can get justice for Miss Barbara. I want justice for Miss Barbara Blount. The family wants it. Everybody wants it except for the people who murdered her, or the person or people who murdered her. And we're not ever going to give up. We're going to continue to do it. You see, every Friday I do hashtag justice for Barbara Blount, and I'm going to continue to do it. We need y'all's help, okay? Whew, y'all know I love that sound, and it makes me smile. It's the sound of another sale on Shopify, the all-in-one commerce platform to start, run, and grow your business. Shopify gives entrepreneurs the resources once reserved for big business, so upstarts, startups, established businesses alike can sell everywhere, synchronize online and in-person sales, and effortlessly stay informed. Scaling your business is a journey of endless possibility. Believe me, Real Life Real Crime started out selling t-shirts, and today we're selling all the way up to car boxes with everything you need from license plate holders to air fresheners, right? But we're not stopping there, because success is a million milestones on a forever evolving path. I love how Shopify has the tools and resources that make it easy for any business to succeed from down the street to around the globe. And y'all, we use the Shopify. It integrates everything from TikTok to Pinterest to Facebook, Instagram, and more. And you synchronize your online and in-person sales. It really helps the business. It frees you up, helps you with the books, all the stuff that you don't have time to handle when it comes to the sales part of the business, Shopify takes it off my plate. It makes it easy. If you have a small business, you've got to use it. You'll gain insights as you grow with detailed reporting of your conversion rates, profit margins, and beyond. And more than a store, Shopify grows with you. This is possibility powered by Shopify. Go to shopify.com/RLRC, all lowercase, for a free 14-day trial and get full access to Shopify's entire suite of features. Grow your business with Shopify today and go to shopify.com/RLRC right now. Shopify.com/RLRC and grow your business with their help, people. Shopify is it. Hashtag justice for Courtney Coco. Well, as y'all know, David Anthony Burns is under arrest and sits in jail in Rapides Parish for the second-degree murder of Courtney Coco. His trial date is coming up April the 8th of 2022. I have been to every single court hearing except for two. One when I was at, both of them, I was out of town. One at a conference and another one I just couldn't get there without going into the reasons. But I went again this past week, and I sat with the family, as I always do in the court, and there were some more motions. Now, Burns' attorney, Chris LaCour, had filed a couple more motions, and he's filed these same motions over and over and over again since Burns has been in jail. And the main one is there's an eyewitness from Texas who saw Burns backing out in a hurry at nighttime from where Courtney's body was dumped in what appeared to be Courtney's car, to the point where he called a Louisiana license plate and a couple of the numbers on it, letters and numbers on the plate, and was able to pick Burns out of a photo lineup. Well, the problem with it was he dated a statement. He put the wrong date on his statement, but that can be explained as human error. He had human error. He had the right weekend of the Rice Festival and all that stuff. So LaCour's been challenging the whole time, saying, no, it's a bad ID and blah, 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 blah. And then finally the judge ruled on it for the final time this week, and she said, I'm going to let the jury hear it, and the jury can decide what weight to give this witness's testimony. Okay? Now, LaCour wants him out before the judge ruled. And LaCour was like, they got nothing. This witness is no good, and the DNA, y'all, they submitted some DNA from, I think, the trunk that we were waiting on it to come back. It did not come back to Burns, and LaCour said, I want it thrown out. He needs to get out. His DNA's not in the car. They found some DNA from cigarette butts from different people in the cars, and that was established, y'all, if you remember me telling you during the story, that those were people that they were tracked down. It was investigated by Texas authorities. These were people that had possession of Courtney's vehicle as a crack loaner after she was murdered. Okay, all been excluded. But he said, my client's DNA is not in the car anywhere. Well, guess what? If I kill you and I take your car, I'm gonna wipe that son of a bitch down, right? But regardless, it's a motion. LaCour wanted his bond reduced also, which was set at $500,000. Hugo Holland, the special prosecutor, was in court, and he carries himself very well. He did a very good job. He stood up, and his response to LaCour was, and LaCour also stated that there's nothing that ties him to the crime, absolutely nothing. And Hugo Holland tells the judge, Your Honor, we got 4 or 5 different witnesses that Burns, over the years, most of them independent from each other, told from his own mouth that he strangled Courtney and put her in a car. He said, I should be able to use that at trial to say what came out of his own mouth. And Courtney deserves her day in court. And I'm ready to roll, basically, is what he said. And so the judge came back, and I told you, she ruled against LaCour on the witness, saying that she was allowing it. And trial's moving forward, okay? And yes, he did get a bond reduction from $500,000 to $250,000. But if you do that, y'all, cash, do the math on it. Bonds bailsmen usually take 10 to 12%. So if it's 10%, that's $25,000 cash he has to come up with to get out. If he gets it, then he gets it. But that's a lot of cash, right? So that's the update. Hashtag Justice for Courtney Coco. I will be doing a live day-by-day, blow-by-blow series of that trial. I will be there every single day. I will tell you what every witness said. I will tell you what the defense said. There's no TVs allowed in the courtroom, but I'll have my photographic memory there, and you'll get it blow by blow. And I'm confident and praying for justice for Courtney Coco and that beautiful family. All right, moving on to the third justice for. This one I was going to have someone live on, but I'll tell you about it. Anyway, it's justice for Mary. All right, I want to talk about that. Y'all remember that we did it. I wasn't going to do another justice for case because a lot of you don't like them, and I get that. But I took Mary Pouchot's case because I saw the injuries to her face, and I was talking to Lori Cash, her sister, on the phone, and they basically, the detective lied about numerous things, and told her it would never be solved unless they could come up with a video or he confessed. Well, we put it out. I put it out in a 5-part series. I put it out to y'all, and I gave you the phone numbers of the detectives and the news media, etc., just like we did for Kim Womack, like we did for Courtney Coco. And guess what? There are more great cops than bad ones. And I digress because I don't have the young man's name, and he's not that young, but there's a guy named Zach. He's with West Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office, and he's like a liaison with the DA there, what have you. But he told me, well, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but he got his guys, his detectives, after listening to episode 2 of the podcast, and they went and worked Mary's case, and they did a fine job. Okay, those guys, in my opinion, give the best name to cops. All right, that they knew the case had been screwed up, but they went out there and they worked it, and they made 2 arrests. They arrested Gerald Peanut Pouchot, Mary's husband, for her murder, and his new wife for obstruction and something else. But week before last, Gerald Pouchot pled guilty to the murder of his wife of over 40 years, Mary. All right? And it absolutely would not have happened had y'all not brought the pressure. First of all, it wouldn't happen had the family ever given up, and they didn't. My hat's off to them. Her brother and her sisters, they are fantastic people. They are, I don't want to say more reserved, but each family is different. But they love their sister, and they didn't know, and I mean, they had suspicions, but Peanut or Gerald Pouchot had been in their life long before he got married to Mary. I mean, he was a brother's best friend. And you go back and listen to the series, you'll hear all the stuff that Peanut did afterwards, and the family's love for him and everything else. Well, it's a hard thing, okay? And they exhumed Mary's body in the new investigation and everything. And I'm not going to go into all of it because it just doesn't matter. What matters is this. It wouldn't have happened had the family ever given up. And the family reaching out to you lifers, and you know who you are, that reached out to me and all the fans, and they reached out to me, and then I took it and went and sat down with them and did a 5-part series on the interview, and we shared it, and you lifers took it and you ran with it, and the good cops came out, the true cops, the true detectives came out, because they don't want to see injustice any more than I do. They came out and they worked it and they solved it, and by God, they got a confession, and my hat's off to them, those gentlemen and ladies, if they're involved, from the West Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office, who stood up and did the right thing, even though shit, they didn't have to. They didn't work. It wasn't their case when it happened. I mean, they stood up and did what needed to be done. And so Gerald Pouchot pled out to, I think, 26 years for the murder. It's not, I said second-degree murder. I think it did for manslaughter, y'all. I told you wrong. So it's definitely not second-degree murder. It was manslaughter. He got 26 years for that. Then I think he got another 20 years for obstruction and another 20 years for something else. And I think 66 years total. He will be eligible for parole in like 17 years. Well, guess what? I seriously doubt he's going to live that long, okay? I mean, he's already in his late 60s. 17 years, that's 4 years eligible for parole. In the state of Louisiana, you can get, if he acts right, he'll get good time. And so every day you do, they give you a day, basically, almost that. And after half your sentence is complete, you get a chance to go for the parole board. And it's been my experience, as long as a family member shows up and says they don't want him out, he ain't gonna get out. All right. But they brought him into court. He's wearing his prison black and whites. He's handcuffed and shackled. They sit him in the jury box. The judge reads out the charges against him and what the possible penalties are. But more importantly, y'all, and I'm not ever going to share it because it's too personal. It's one of the most moving things I've ever seen. But the family members getting up and standing before Gerald Peanut Pouchot and giving their victims impact statements. Holy smokes. You talk about powerful. Absolutely powerful. And there were a lot of tears, and just it'd make anybody cry. It really would. But that's personal between them and him, and he had to sit there and listen to it. Okay, and then he stood before the judge and took his years. So he's done. Justice for Mary has been served. I want you to know that the family members love y'all. I talked to Lori the other day, and she was like, Woody, it's hard. We've been trying to write letters to the fans. It's so emotional for us and everything else. I said, look, maybe have you on one day, and you could tell them thank you. And she said that'd be fine. But you know what? I don't think they're ready for it yet. I think it's still too raw. But I want to convey their appreciation to you lifers for bringing the pressure around to make these guys, first of all, aware of what was going on and the lies and everything that were going on, and then to get these guys, not make them. They did it of their own free will. The good cops stood up and got justice for Mary. And Gerald Pouchot, Peanut, whatever you want to call him, thought he got away with murder. Hey, you want to hear something that'll really trip you out? It's really gruesome. 9 out of 10 of us suffer from some type of gut issue. Gas, bloating, diarrhea, acid reflux, and they're so common that most people think it's just a normal way of their life, right? But 80% of your immune system lives in your gut, meaning if you have an unhealthy gut, you got weak immunity, people. Probiotics are supposed to be the best way to support the gut, but research shows that 99.9% of the probiotics die in your stomach naturally in the harsh acids there before they get where they're needed. This is what makes Just Thrive probiotics so revolutionary. Proprietary formula is designed by nature to protect itself when conditions get rough. Studies have proven that Just Thrive probiotic arrives 100% alive in your gut, making them uniquely effective for gas, constipation, and bloating, and providing much needed immune support. Vegan friendly, gluten free, dairy free, histamine free, and non-GMO. Safe for just about any age, including moms that are expecting. Endorsed by some of the biggest health luminaries on the planet. To give your body the crucial immune and digestive support and to feel your best, there's nothing like the award-winning Just Thrive probiotic. And right now, you can get 15% off. You go to justthrivehealth.com and use code RLRC at checkout. That's JustThrivehealth.com and use code RLRC at checkout. The older I get, the more I need Just Thrive, and I'm so glad I found it. Check them out. Use the code RLRC at checkout. Saddest thing is him using his grandson and all that other shenanigans he pulled, try to pull the wool over the family's eyes. But y'all, he would have got away with murder. He really would have got away with murder and Mary, who never hurt anybody. But justice for Mary has been served. And on behalf of the family, Mary's family, and on behalf of me, I want to thank each and every one of you who took the time to email and call and do what you did. Justice for Mary has been served. And thank you to those cops, Zach and his guys that did the work. God bless y'all. So, it's going to take us to the last one. Now, I've only done 4 #Justice4 series, right? And the 4th one was #Justice for Kim Womack. I just concluded it. It just came out this week. To y'all, convicts and patrons, you got it a little bit early, commercial free, etc. Everybody else got it on Wednesday. I listed the news, TV stations numbers and the sheriff's number, state police and the DA, the sheriff, and all that, and basically a call to action. What else do you call it? I mean, the light needs to be shown on Kim Womack's, just like it was on Courtney Coco's. We got the traction, like it has been the whole time on Barbara Blount's, right? And it's still getting tips. And I know the sheriff and them are working it every day. They're not ever going to give up. Mary Pusho's case, oh my gosh, what a blessing. What a blessing. The light was shown in the darkness and the rats had to run, and we got the justice, right? Kim Womack's case, if you haven't listened to it, and y'all, I know it's a long series, but it's important. It's murder. Go listen to it. Go to the Real Life, Real Crime Community app and look for free. There's more pictures if you're a convict that are put up, but I shared the worst pictures I've ever shared since I started doing the podcast. Go look and make your own determination. Now remember, they said that Kim slipped in some chocolate syrup and hit her head and then went lay down in bed and died. All the pictures, all the photographs, all the evidence, the things you've heard the daughter Catherine say and Miss Frida, the sister, say, what the coroner said, homicide. You never heard about it, people. It's never been on the news. Why? We're going to put the numbers up along with some email addresses this time. You've only had it for a couple days, but I believe that we can get justice for Kim Womack, but we cannot do it if you don't let your opinion be heard. Okay? You got it. I would start with the news media, and I know a bunch of people called the sheriff, a bunch of people called Tony Clayton, the district attorney, and I told y'all he's going to say he doesn't have the case file, but he was in court, couldn't be reached, whatever. The sheriff was out of town, busy, couldn't, whatever, didn't respond to anybody. The news media, it was a lot going on this week, right? And it doesn't mean they're not going to get to it, but the more of y'all that want to express your opinions about Kim Womack's body and the injuries she sustained to the news media to get the attention. Listen, Chris Nakamoto and Scotty Hunter and the different investigative reporters show up at these elected officials' doors, they're going to have to answer. But guess they're never going to show up if you don't call and say, hey, what about this murder? Have you seen the photographs? Have you heard what was told to Woody by the family members of what has and hasn't happened in this case? Get the light shine on her, y'all. Let's get justice for Kim Womack. Let's bring it home. At least let's get the answers. Get it acknowledged that she's been murdered. Get it acknowledged that you're actually going to work the case, that you're doing something. This family's suffering too, y'all. And each one of the families are different. And I get it. Look, this is a long time. 2008, that's a long time. It's a long time to carry this burden of your mother and your sister being murdered. Please, if you can find it in your hearts. First of all, if you haven't seen the pictures, you need to go look at them. And that would just make it up for you right there. And we'll make it as easy for you as we can to get you the numbers so you can voice your opinions as Americans or from all over the world. Actually, we had people call in. Said is you can voice your opinion. This is America. You can still call your people and say, hey, I saw these pictures. I think this is horrible. Why hasn't something been done about it? Why haven't you covered it on the news? People will come out of the woodworks, y'all, when it gets broadcast, and they know it's not going away. So justice for Kim Womack. I appreciate y'all listening to the series. It's important to me, because it's important to the family. And Kim Womack is too young to die. She had her life taken from her. What if it was your family member? What if it's your mama, your sister, your daughter? I don't know. I know it's not telling old cop stories, but damn it, it's important to me. And I guess I did it for so long in my career that each one of these cases means something to me. And I would just love to see justice for, we've got it for Mary, right? It's coming for Courtney Coco, right? We got an arrest. That's huge. Miss Barbara Blount, we're never going to get off of it. Kim Womack, we got to get on it. Somebody's got to get on it and I want people to step up and work it like Zach and the detectives from West Baton Rouge did on Mary Pouchot's case. So y'all do with it what you will. And I love each and every one of you, and I appreciate you. This will be the end of season 10. y'all, we're growing every single day because of y'all sharing the stories, whether the Soul Cop stories or the hashtag Justice For. Y'all are sharing us and liking us. Please, wherever you listen to a podcast, wherever you listen to Real Life, Real Crime, if you would take a moment and leave me a review and hit subscribe, okay? That way, anytime we release something, you'll get a notification that it's there for you to listen to or view, because I'm doing YouTube right now, and I forgot to tell y'all about that. So some of the 7 parts on the Justice for Ken Womack, I think 5 of them the video got messed up on, but there's a couple of them that it hadn't been. So if you want to be able to watch this, Envision Podcast Studios, Jim Chapman is producing it. You can go watch me tell the stories. Okay, I'm on camera right now. It's Real Life, Real Crime Podcast, not just Real Life, Real Crime under YouTube. But y'all are helping us grow, and I appreciate it. Real Life, Real Crime Community app. I'm telling you, people, that's where it's at. So many of y'all have gone over there, and I'm glad. Use the forum, read the feed, play the games, get all the true crime information. It's everything true crime in the world, everything Real Life, Real Crime in the world, uncensored. That's where I was able to share, with the family's permission, Ken Womack's murder scene photos, because Facebook wouldn't have put up with that shit, because they are horrible. But use the app. We love it. That's it. The Scorched Justice, the new podcast, jeez, man. If you've ever heard the story of Jessica Lynn Chambers, and ultimately Ming Xing Show, oh my God, it is the worst travesty of justice, and it's out of Mississippi, y'all. Go listen to it. Scorched Justice, same thing. If you go to listen to it, hit subscribe, like, and please leave a review. Y'all, this is something I should have been asking for all along. It's in Apple's algorithms that when the reviews get left, the subscribe button is hit, it helps move you up when people are searching the true crime. However it works out, I don't pretend to know, but I know that I'm supposed to be telling you, if you like, subscribe, and leave a review, it helps other people find the show, okay? But thank you so much for everything. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Guess what? I've got 4 case files ready to go, 3 of which are murders that I worked personally myself. And starting next week will be the start of season 11 of Real Life, Real Crime. If you can believe that, right? Holy smokes. I'm so blessed. But coming back to you with the old cop stories, the next hashtag Justice For will be under a different series, okay? It won't be on a different podcast. It won't be on Real Life, Real Crime. But thank y'all. I appreciate you. Love you. LOPA, Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. If you're a lifer from Timbuktu and you want to be an organ donor, you don't have to be from Louisiana. Go to lopa.org. Take a minute, fill it out, become an organ donor. The chance that you're ever going to get used, that anything's ever going to be used off of you, are so stupidly slim. But I'm going to take mine out and show it on camera right now. I know y'all can see that. See that heart on the bottom? I'm an organ donor. Let some shit happen to me, they can have my shit. I don't care. All right? Be an organ donor. Give the gift of life, a site, and all the other great stuff those people do. It's a non-profit, y'all. Go sign up, be an organ donor. Patreon convicts, thank you so much. I couldn't do this show without you, and I hope you enjoy your bonus episodes and bonus materials, and I'm going to be putting up more real soon. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to or during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will point one for you. Do you understand your rights?